Solidworks, a program that a lot of us know about, but few of us use because of its incredibly high price point. A $4,000 upfront fee plus about $1,300 a year compared to Fusion 360 at $500 a year. It's been unattainable for a lot of us, but Solidworks is free for makers. Let's dive into it. Hey, before we get into it too much, I want to give credit to Teaching Tech. We'll link to their channel in the description down below. It was because of their community post that we found out that SolidWorks CAD and CAM is free for makers. And apparently it's been free for a minute since April 16th? So it's been a while, but it's really, really simple. They provide you with a download link. They use the code 921maker. You select the version, and where it says select one of the following, you select Maker, because that's what this is for. Understand, for some reason it's free for makers, but it's $100 for students. I don't get that one for SolidWorks, and Fusion 360 is totally free for students. So yeah. I don't know, man. SolidWorks is weird. This is apparently a way kind of around the system to play around. Previously, what we've always recommended is that you join the Experimental Aircraft Association, EAA.org. For $40 a year, you get a copy of SolidWorks Student Edition totally for free. Now, this is non-commercial use. So if you do this and you're doing it for commercial purposes, no. Shame on you. You shouldn't do that. Definitely shouldn't do that. You'll have your serial numbers on your confirmation page, you'll receive an email with further instructions, and then you will be set to download everything. It is about 15 gigs. So make sure you've got lots of storage space open, and it does take, it takes some time, and apparently it's going to use a fair bit of RAM. But that is okay, because this is SolidWorks free, man. Previously, the only way to get this way was to sail the 7 seas. So this is really nice to see that there are ways to get SolidWorks for 100% free. Now, 921maker does tell me that maybe this is somebody's referral code. It doesn't really matter at this point, but thanks to Makerstore, based in Australia, for providing this guide, and of course Teaching Tech for letting us know it existed, because yeah, none of us on the team had seen it, so we figured, hey, let's do a video on it. Let's compare SolidWorks to Fusion 360 for just a moment. SolidWorks is the bog standard for engineering firms across the globe. Why? Because it's made by Dassault Systems that makes basically every other CAD and CAM program that people use, including CATIA. Even though CATIA is way worse, in my opinion, to use than SolidWorks, but for some reason it's more accepted in aerospace. Man, I don't know what Dassault Systems is doing, to be honest with you. Quite frankly, it appears that they're kind of going crazy a bit, but I'm glad that there are now options that include free and not just using the EAA kind of hack, if you will. But we as 3D Musketeers use Fusion 360, and we use it because it utilizes cloud. And cloud is great for us because let's say one of our staff forgets to send us the file. Well, now we gotta wait till they actually send it to us. Utilizing a cloud feature enables us to work collaboratively together. Now, SolidWorks does now have an opportunity to do that, but it requires an extra paid add-on. And SolidWorks alone is $4 grand plus $1,300 a year for updates, assuming you want updates. You probably want updates. Whereas Fusion 360 is only $500, and it does go on sale. I'm sure they both go on sale, but I know Fusion 360 goes on sale every now and then. It's gone as low as $250. SolidWorks is more geared toward professionals, and that's where a lot of their marketing goes to, whereas Fusion 360 is, well, for people like me. Beginners, makers, the small business owner, if you will. And of course, they also have a maker license, which if you make less than 100 grand a year, you can utilize their maker license absolutely free. Now they do verify all of that, but it's nice and simple. As I've discussed, we have 2 licenses for Fusion 360. We have a maker license and I have an education license because I am a teacher. Every now and then I like to teach classes, and of course we have the live streams where we teach you guys all about Fusion 360. We might start doing some with SolidWorks now that we have this, so make sure you get subscribed if that's what you want to see. But I do believe right after this video goes live, we will be going live on our channel to show you all about FreeCAD, because FreeCAD is pretty awesome, and as the name would state, absolutely free and open source. Now, one benefit to SolidWorks over Fusion 360 is that it is all locally stored, whereas Fusion 360 is cloud-based. So if you're not a huge fan of the cloud and you don't like it, maybe you just want to put on that tinfoil hat, SolidWorks might be a better option for you, especially if you are going to be going into hardcore CAD CAM in a big job. Now, if you are looking to get into the CAD CAM industry and are looking for a place to start, please let us know. We at 3D Musketeers are hiring, and I guess that's a pretty decent segue into our sponsor, 3D Musketeers. As always, we are going to be continuing to sponsor these videos until we can get an awesome sponsor. So if you know any sponsors that you would like to have sponsor our videos, please let us know. I'd like to contact them, even though it might end up having me do a raid Shadow Legends bit, but hey, whatever, I'll do it. It helps us produce these videos. But if you are looking to get your ideas out of your head and into your hands with full art to part rapid prototyping and product development, you can reach out to us at 3D Musketeers. And if you want to support us directly because you just love the awesome stuff we do, you can support us monthly on Patreon. Links will be in the description down below. But I love this little trick, and I think you will too. SolidWorks is awesome. I used to have a student edition that I just messed around in so I could learn, because when I was a teacher, I wanted to show the students options available. We believe that SolidWorks will continue to reign king for now, and is until Fusion 360 really gets its teeth sunk into what it stands for as a company, as Autodesk and Fusion 360 stand for, whether they are trying to go after SolidWorks, if they're trying to be a product for the, poor man SolidWorks. We don't know yet, and they tend to change their UI pretty often, and you can even utilize a SolidWorks variant of Fusion 360 where all the controls are similar to where they are in SolidWorks. And I like that because, well, hey, it means that I can transfer back and forth pretty easily. And I like that this can be free because you know what? I'm a maker. You're probably a maker too watching this. So if you want to get it, we'll have links for Makerstore.com down in the description. Follow that link, follow what they're telling you, and you too can totally get SolidWorks. Like seriously, it's really simple. You just fill out your contact information. You gotta give them an email. If you want to use a 10-minute mail, you can, that's fine. I give them a real email. I'll just unsubscribe from all their notification crap later on. But there you go. You get totally a version of SolidWorks. And you can choose what you want here. It said to pick Maker. That's what I went with. Now, we spent some time looking, but we were unable to really find where this Maker version stands on all of SolidWorks' lineup, if you will. We were able to quickly find right on their main page a comparison tool, but that is between their standard, professional, and premium. And as we see, of course, standard is less than professional, professional is less than premium. I feel like we should all know this by now. But there are lots of features even on the standard alone. We can look at going over to buy, and this is where things start to get a little iffy. We can see that for startups and entrepreneurs, SolidWorks is free, but for some reason, SolidWorks Student Edition costs money. I don't understand why, if you are a student, that you would even look at buying SolidWorks when you could just sign up for the Entrepreneur Maker license. And this is ridiculous too. I went to buy it and it wants me to create, I'm just, yuck. Goodbye, Mr. Bond. We've got commercial, academia, research, student, and startup and entrepreneur. We go into the startup and entrepreneur where you can learn more in here as well. And you can apply to get 12 months worth of 3D experience, including SolidWorks for CAD, simulation, visualization, and more, as well as training absolutely free. Now, will you get accepted? I don't know, man. So they say the first year is totally free. Year 2, they give you 70% off all cloud solutions, and year 3 goes to 50%. So they're putting you on a tiered price point. I'd also like to point out that they have an old MakerBot replicator, Gen 1, the wood, as one of their stock photos. And that does kind of make me giggle a little bit because this printer has not been relevant since like 2010. Lots of options available out there for those that are looking to grow, start a business, or, of course, if you have commercial, academia, or research needs. Understand, of course, the Maker license is absolutely free, but this is really exciting, and I feel like I kind of missed the cue on this. So again, thanks to Teaching Tech, and of course, thanks to Makerstore.com.au for even having all of this, because without you all letting us know at 3DM, we would never be able to get the word out there and show off that you can get SolidWorks Maker Edition totally free. And that's my favorite price. Free 99. It's my favorite price. All right, so my activation succeeded, but something that I didn't expect. This is a yearly license. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, today is Earth, Wind, and Fire Day, at least when I'm recording this video, the 21st of September. And if you don't get that reference, I'll put it right here. And when I say me, I mean Andrew. We'll put it right there. Is truly the best band ever. And I will argue that point in those comments. I will do it. So if you do go this way, make sure you know 1 year and 1 year only. I mean, maybe you can renew it. I assume you can renew it. But at least for now, 1 year. But hey, 1 year ain't bad. Not in my book. I will give SolidWorks some credit. Their loading screen looks a lot nicer, but it takes way longer to load than Fusion 360. Okay, and once you get SolidWorks open, it looks actually quite similar to Fusion 360. Fusion 360 is a little bit prettier. Like, I'll give Fusion that. It's a little bit prettier. But, I mean, you know, ultimately, let's just do a new file. Now, we don't have to do this inside of Fusion. It just auto brings you into a new file. But if you are going to do a part assembly or a drawing, it is nice to be able to choose right from the beginning. Okay, and there we go. We now have SolidWorks open, and we'll do a sketch. Go to the top plane here. Oh, some of the things are backwards on the Space Mouse, which is kind of hilarious to me, but that is okay. We'll do a sketch from the top. This is similar to Fusion 360, but again, kind of as we talked about earlier, it is not as pretty. But I will say, I've always liked it sketching just a little bit better than Fusion. Drawing in it is just as simple as if we go to new sketch from the top, grab us some lines, try to do the same thing here. There you go. I do like the grid pattern inside of Fusion. I'm sure you can bring one into SolidWorks, but this is how it comes. Bone stock bog standard. So I wanted to kind of compare these two. Now, I'm sure I've done some changes in Fusion 360 because I've been using it for years. I have not had a good copy of SolidWorks since like SolidWorks 2014. It's like since I was in school, I haven't had SolidWorks. And I really only ever used it to check other people's files. So it had a very small use to me. But now, with the ability to use it on the Maker side for some personal projects, this might be fun. Like, I'm kind of looking forward to it because at the end of the day, this is industry standard. And while industry will change, it has been on SolidWorks for at least the last 10 years, if not more. Everything's kind of the way that I'm expecting it to be, where I'm expecting it, because again, I have my Fusion 360 utilizing SolidWorks-esque styling. Smart dimension. Right there. I believe SolidWorks defaults to inches. Now, I'm sure we can change that in the preferences. Yep, it does default to inches. We can change this in our preferences, I am certain. Do note inside of SolidWorks that it is not cloud saving for you constantly. By default, auto recover information is saved every 10 minutes. I set it down to 2, and I highly recommend that you go ahead and do a backup as well, and have a backup copy on a separate drive. So if you're using an E drive, put it on your C drive. That way, in the event that things go wrong on one of your drives, you have a backup copy, because remember, there's no cloud feature here like there is on Fusion 360. If you lose a hard drive, your data goes with it. So I highly, 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 highly recommend you save a backup. Now, you can remove backups that are older than 7 days. I'm going to change that to 21, because if you are working on a project for long term, your older backups might get deleted, and you might not want that in case you need to go back and revise it. I do like that it has a save notification, so if you haven't saved within 20 minutes, be like, hey, dummy, save your file, because, you know, we don't have a cloud feature, which I still think is the biggest reason to go with Fusion 360. Now, what I'm doing is I'm going through all the settings to try to find where I can easily change the darn thing to use metric. You'd think this was easy. It is not. One more thing to note is that by default, it exports to IGES 5.3. STEP is more considered the industry standard. It is generally utilized in any CAD package, whereas IGES sometimes is, and especially things like SLD PRT, so that's a SLD part file, SolidWorks part file, from assembly, that is not always usable in other programs. Fusion 360 accepts it, but it's not going to have your entire version history. STEP, yes, does not have version history, but is universally accepted in the industry. So I do recommend that you change it over to STEP. Now, I did make a bit of a big dummy moment there. I was going through system options, whereas I should have been in dimensions. You could also turn on the grid in here under grid/snap. You can go ahead and display that grid. That is useful. And under units, we can change it to the right ones: millimeters, grams, and seconds. Understand, if you are doing this for industry, especially for CAM, millimeters is not considered the standard. I know. One day, the United States will figure it out that the metric system is just better. For the utilizations that we have for 3D printing, for some small CNC milling, I do everything in millimeters because it is just the world that I live in, even though I live in Florida. So much better. We change our units to millimeters and just, so much better. I want that at 1 millimeter because it is going to bother me. But 3.3 is fine, 6 points, so that's 1/8 of an inch and 1/4 of an inch. These are all to be expected. I like this. This is fine. Love it. Beautiful. Let's go back here. Let's see what's changed. Nothing. Interesting. So, of course, I'm going to be used to hitting the D key for dimension. It's not that here. So much better. 124.38 instead of 4.9. So much better. You can even look and see these are things that Fusion does not let you do immediately when you are dimensioning something out. So if we just dimension it out like that, all it's going to do is let you choose those values. And that's it. Inside of SolidWorks, it's going to give you lots of other options. And there you go. Like, that's a great example between this is for a hardcore professional that wants to do this the rest of their life. Whereas Fusion 360 is a great way for a maker and a hobbyist to dip their toes into the world of CAD without really having to bite the bullet and, well, open their wallets all that much, if they choose to at all, for a program like Fusion 360. Now, understand, Fusion 360 has changed a lot in the past couple of years, where they absolutely kneecapped their Maker Edition, only allowing you like 10 active files at a time. But from a Maker perspective, that doesn't really bother me, because if I'm working on more than 10 projects at a time, I probably need to finish some of those 10 before I start new ones. They're basically like, you know, subconsciously controlling your ADHD, and don't lie to me, you know, we're all in this together. I will say, from a UI and UX perspective, that's user interface and user experience, I do prefer that of Fusion 360 over SolidWorks, but I think a lot of that is just due to my long-term usage of it versus, you know, very minimal usage inside of SolidWorks. This is more clean and professional, and sanitary is probably the right word that I'm going for, whereas Fusion is more kind of organized, but it doesn't give you all of the information. It kind of shows you what you need and nothing else. SolidWorks says, we're going to show you everything, whether you like it or not. Now, they still do, of course, have all of these tabs, similar to what you get inside of Fusion. But I look at some of their icons, and I just can't help but say, you know, I think Fusion's just looks prettier. Now, of course, that is subjective, You guys decide for yourself. But if you want to learn SolidWorks and you don't want to pay a ton of money to do it, this method is a great way to do it. So let me know. I want to know from you. Are you going to be using SolidWorks? Do you want me to like do live streams on this? I don't see why we couldn't. It might be fun for us. I know I'm going to start one on FreeCAD. Maybe we'll do one on SolidWorks coming after that. But if you want to kind of follow along and learn with me, we stream every Wednesday, barring any other issues, right after the Wednesday video, which as of right now comes out at 2 p.m. Eastern time. I want to know from you guys. Let me know. Do you like SolidWorks? Are you going to be using it? Do you use it now in your day job? And I'd like to know how you feel as someone that uses SolidWorks all the time. Do you like Fusion 360, or do you find it to be too childish, too simple, or maybe it's just right? You know, sometimes it's too hot, too cold, and other times it's Goldilocks. It's just right. Anyways, guys, stay safe out there. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because you know that helps us out greatly. And hey, just lightly, very lightly, just kiss it. Just geese the like button for me, please. Don't forget to call your loved ones. And as always, keep making awesome. Have a good one. Florida man decides to use millimeters instead of inches. We'll see how that works and more on the 11 o'clock news. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video. If you like CAD, maybe you'll like our entire live stream playlist series where I go through and kind of learn Fusion 360, sometimes with better luck than others. That video will be right below me. Next to it will be a video especially handpicked just for you. And next to me is all of our patrons. And if you want to get your name in the credits of our videos, make sure you join our Patreon to support us directly so we can make more awesome videos like this for you. Patreon.com/3D Musketeers. I will see you all down in the comments. Take care. I'll see you in the next one too. This one was fun. Free SolidWorks, come on.